company, I know you know the name, is netpayroll.net. I know you know what they do. They do your payroll. They're extraordinary. We've been using them here. And you know why? Because they treat you like a big fish, regardless of the size pond you're in. Big or small, they treat you as an important, critical client. One thing they do that's really unique is they offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. Now, this is how it works. If you're not 100% satisfied with their payroll processing service, the 59th day and 23 hours and 59 minutes in, you call them up and say, you know what? It's not working. They will give you all their money back. No questions asked. No problem. But I'll tell you, you'll be with them more than 60 days. We've been with them for over a year now. We love netpayroll.net. I think you will too. So go to netpayroll.net right now. Again, that's netpayroll.net. And have an experience like being a big fish. Finally, here we go. That's right. Today, right here, right now, this is the moment that you'll finally say, I'm growing my accounting practice. And you're going to discover exactly how right here, right now on the Grow My Accounting Practice podcast, episode 104.
Whoop, whoop.
I like that. Whoop, whoop. There you go.
Super exciting.
How you doing today, Erin?
Doing good.
You feeling it today?
I'm feeling it.
All right, bring that energy of yours. And you, my friends, I want your energy too. Why? Because we're going to grow your business today. It's time we start making your accounting practice soar. And that's what this show's all about. You're listening to a show called GMAP, Grow My Accounting Practice. My name is Mike Michalowicz. I'm the author of Profit First. I hope you have a copy of that book, right? You better. I mean, just between me and you better. And I'm joined in studio by none other than Erin Mojic.
What?
The Mo. She's a Profit First professional guide. She's actually brought Profit First to some mega corporations and helped them become profitable. And she helps all of our Profit First professional members. And in Ron's absence, she said, I'm stepping up and joining in. So welcome, Erin.
Thank you very much.
And you, my friends, you're listening to GMAP. This is Grow My Accounting Practice. This is a show where we teach you the alpha and the omega and everything in between to growing your accounting or bookkeeping practice. And we give you an action task right at the end of the show. We call it the GMAP Now task. I think we're the only show in the world that does this. You will get a task at the end of this episode to guarantee growth in your business. Small steps put together become giant leaps, and this is your 104th small but powerful step forward. Plus, we have the Psychology Sale Tip that's hosted by Ron himself, Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's not here today, so we'll not be doing that, but we'll pay him homage nonetheless. And we interview great guests. Today, we got two amazing guests that are going to talk about why and how millennials are critical to the growth of your business. And by the way, if you're listening on iTunes, please do subscribe, or maybe you're listening on Stitcher, subscribe there. Maybe you're one of those Google players. Then subscribe there, tune in radio. Wherever you listen to your podcatcher, we're there. Be sure to subscribe. And you can also go to growmyaccountingpractice.com to check out our 10 most recent popular episodes. Oh, and one more thing. Right now, pull out your cell phone. You can join us for free monthly webinars that we do about growing your accounting practice. All these different tips. All you need to do is send a text, the word GMAP or the letters GMAP, to 678-506-7543. Again, that's GMAP to 678-506-7543. Send a text right now, and you'll get our free monthly webinars. All right, before we get things kicked off, I do want to thank our corporate sponsors, the folks that make this show a reality. So, Erin, you want to do the honors? Who's supporting us today?
We have Funbox supporting us today, along with Fundera, Nextiva, and Receipt Bank.
Okay. Yeah, wonderful folks. So thank you to all of them. We'll give you more details on those folks in just a little bit, but let's get to the crux to the show right now. Danetha Doe, I write down, do not mess up her name, and I always get intimidated. Danetha Doe and Nancy Kabanyave is here to talk about growing a business with millennials. Now, let me tell you about Nancy and Danetha. They are the founders or co-founders of Branding for Accountants. They actually have an 8-week program to help accountants thrive. Now, here's things you may not know about these two wonderful people. Nancy, within 3 years, has grown a multi-million-dollar book of business for her accounting firm that she works for. How did she do it? Well, that's part of her secret, and I teach that in class. Danetha was named top 40 under 40 accounting professionals by CPA Practice Advisor. And together, They've built a successful location-independent accounting business for millennials. So Danetha and Nancy, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having us.
It's a joy. I try to bring all this energy and I get all hyper and I say your names all wrong. So I'm sorry about bastardizing both your names in the beginning. That was totally unintentional.
No worries. It was totally fine.
So the first thing I want to ask you, I asked you this off air, when you teach people about millennials, it's nice to have that perspective. You're both millennials, right?
Correct.
So, nowadays, as you're growing in accounting practice, more and more millennials are coming into the workforce. I would dare say it's now becoming the majority of new employees are going to be millennial employees, unless it's someone transferring from another firm. So are they being forced to hire millennials and trying to adjust the business, or are businesses finally made the turn realizing that this is the next generation of business leaders and that the business should be seeking out millennials as opposed to sometimes feeling forced?
That's a really great question. And, I believe in 2015, the number of millennials within the workforce surpassed the next largest generation, which was the baby boomers, due to retirement and moving on to other interests that they had. So I'm not sure if companies are feeling forced so much as that's the pool that they have to choose from now. And companies and specifically accounting practices are realizing that the way that they've been doing business in the past just needs to evolve to match the interests and desires of this new generation.
And Nancy, when you adjust your business, what does that mean? How do the millennials respond to a business that adjusts to their needs?
Well, they're doing this by, millennials, we're coming into these businesses and we are, we want to identify with a company's brand and their message. So what we take is for example, when I started with Goodyear, I looked at the practices, what they were doing, and clearly the CEO wanted to make an adjustment, which is why he wanted to bring on a millennial to work on business development. And it was really important for me to connect with a community, to change the practices. It was really important to, use cloud computing softwares to increase productivity.
I mean, that's totally, yes, exactly. And it was just not just productivity, but also lifestyle and you wanting to have more of a work-life integration, and using cloud computing tools allows for an accountant to do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I hear that.
So, all right. So let's talk about, first of all, the needs that millennials have. A lot of our listeners, and maybe many of our listeners are millennials themselves. Many have been in business for 15, 20 years. And so they're coming from that perspective of maybe 15, 20 years ago. What do we need to do to serve the new workforce in our accounting practices? How do we need to adjust our business? Cloud accounting is one.
Right. And it's really important to not limit your employees by physical boundaries. Millennials, we love working remotely. It's really important that we set our own pace and our own working hours. And it actually allows us to thrive and to really build an authentic brand, which then, reflects to clients, and they're more eager to work with a company.
Gotcha.
Yeah, in addition to that, it's also, Grant Thornton is a great example of this. They've allowed their employees to have unlimited vacation and sick time. And so allowing millennials and your staff to be able to take on projects when they know that they're able to, and also understanding that lifestyle is really important to millennials.
Okay, so that sounds great, but now as an employer, I'm thinking, hold on, unlimited vacation. If Aaron says, "Hey, I'm not going to show up again for maybe 2-3 years. I'm going on a major sabbatical." I mean, that would crush us. So, and I don't know if we could afford it. Is this? How do you even do something like let's explore that unlimited vacation? How can a company afford to pay that? And also, how do you run a business if someone takes a lot of time off and you don't have that congruency in that person? They're not there all the time.
That's a really good point. And 2 to 3 years would be really challenging for any business to be able to handle. I don't know if that's vacation. I think that's more just leaving the company.
Touche.
But no, I think that's a really good point. One of the things to remember is that most people don't actually use all of their PTO or use all of their sick time. And millennials are like any other generation. We want to do a good job and we want to make sure that we're productive and contributing to the bottom line of the company. And so it's important, I think, to remember that most people won't take advantage of that. And secondly, if you are the employer or the CEO, make it a policy where, yes, you have unlimited vacation or sick time, but you have to explain how is the company going to be able to continue in this area if you're not present to make sure things are done, whether that's you're going to check your email when you're maybe traveling, or you have someone in place to take on the work when you're gone.
What about, I heard this concept maybe in the last 10 years called a results-oriented workplace, or ROWE, results-oriented work environment. And the idea was that people could take off anytime they wanted to. They could work any hours they want. Some people hate to wake up in the morning and work. They'd rather be with their family and work in the evenings. Other people want the reverse. And the idea was to compensate people simply on the results they deliver, regardless of how much time is necessary to do it. Is that what we're suggesting here? Is that compensation is about delivering on certain objectives and goals and allow the person to mold their own work schedule around that?
Yeah, I would say that that's a really great analogy. It's moving away from purely being based upon the time that you put into a project and strictly focusing on what, like you said, are the results that are being produced. And it's not just, one example is unlimited vacation and sick time, but this can also be applied to parents who want to take time off after a newborn. If there's a limit on how much time you can take off after having a new baby, that hampers the ability to really feel productive at work because you're always thinking about what you can be doing or wanting to be able to stay at home with the child. So there's a lot of different areas where this would apply to, and focusing more on the results rather than the time that's put in is one step in that direction.
Aaron, I actually want to ask you a question. Yeah. So, Aaron, you had a baby, beautiful Nora, you and your husband. You're a millennial. You took time off. How long did you take off from work?
Well, interestingly enough, I took 6 weeks. As soon as the doctor said I was healed, I could go, that's when I went back. And it wasn't necessarily because that's when I was ready. It's just one of those things you feel like it's your responsibility. I have a job. I need to be here. And there is a stigmatism for millennials that they don't care and they're lazy. And while there are people that absolutely fit that description.
In all categories, in all ages. Yeah,
in all categories. It's, I was vigorous to get back because I'm passionate about what I do and the people I do it with. Nevertheless, I think one of the biggest factors in being a millennial is we have that recognition of balance, work-life balance. And, we just watched our parents slave away, even if it wasn't necessarily what that would be the definition of today, and you didn't get to see them that much or, that kind of thing. So I think we just have a different thought process around what is important. And that's where I can absolutely see counting hours is not going to be as productive as counting progression.
Yeah.
And job descriptions and making sure that the results are there. And so I'm 100% on board with what you're saying.
Yeah, Nancy, what's your thoughts around this in regards to work-life balance? Like, people have been talking about that for, it seems like, forever.
Mm-hmm. How do you define
that? But the
that?
millennials actually seem to be executing on this.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts, Nancy?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's very important. That is actually how I was able to build my book of business, was because of the work-life balance. I'm not going to lie, in the beginning, I did make a few mistakes, and I was working day and night every day, never took a weekend off because I felt this shame. If you're not working every single day, then, you're not going to reach the success
right.
that you're not going to get where you want to be. And really, it's this big misconception. I feel like it's this this big lie, because it wasn't until I started taking care of myself and I developed a morning routine, and that is when I started thriving and when I was meeting incredible people, because they could people want to work with happy people. You want to feel inspired. Everyone, we crave that. We want to surround ourselves around those people. So when you are taking care of yourself, more people want to work with you. So I feel that it is really important to, just take care of yourself, develop routines. And I feel also that your clients they'll respect you more for that. And that's where what you guys were just touching on, where it's really important not to be set up on an hourly wage or whatnot. You have to be paid for, once you reach the end result, once you complete your task. That's how people need to be rewarded, because then that will also allow them to create whatever that work-life balance means for that person, because it is different for each individual.
What about availability? Say I own an accounting practice, I hire some millennials. I want to afford them this flexibility, this work-life balance, but also I have clients that are demanding. Like, my clients need results at a certain time, a certain day. They need those phone calls. Does that flexibility, is that in conflict with our customers' needs?
No, actually, I'm so happy you mentioned that, because that is something that I'm so passionate about. Although I have, this amazing work-life balance that I've been able to create, it is really important to me that I always am able to resolve my clients' issues within a 24-hour time period. If they need something, that is my number one, I need to take care of that fire. So no, it is not affecting it, because millennials, we all have our phones, we have access to the internet, and most of us are constantly checking our emails, and, clients now, they text, they call, and we want to resolve that. We don't want to have the anxiety of, I need to take care of this issue later this week. We want to resolve issues now and move forward.
What about compensation? I hear some stories, and these could be the negative stories. I hear, millennial graduates from college, expects to get the $150,000 job right out of school at some big firm, and just sits back at mom and dad's house until he or she gets that job.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but it sounds like there's these ludicrous expectations. Now, I've heard the other side. Millennial willing to work for $12 an hour because she's living this lifestyle that she's always dreamed of and is this extremely great worker. Is either one a reality? Are they just extreme examples? What's the truth here?
Ooh, well, I think that you could definitely find examples of both.
Yeah.
And coming from a generation where as soon as we leave college, we're burdened with, some of us have 6 figures worth of debt coming out of undergrad. Yeah. So, and I'm one of them that graduated with that. So as far as the salary requirement, and if you're living in the Bay Area, all of that can be justified depending upon the situation. And I think it all goes back to, what are you bringing to the table for the company? If you can clearly communicate how you're going to support the company's objectives, get them to that next level, then compensation there shouldn't be a ceiling on your compensation just because of your age. Gotcha.
But what about me? I own a small bookkeeping firm. I want to bring in a local millennial to work on my business. Do I have to be prepared to pay a high salary, or is it, like you said, it's all circumstantial based upon what's around that person's history and their environment?
Yeah, I think there's room to be creative with compensation. If you're a small accounting practice, maybe it's a lower base salary, but you want to reward the person for building the business, for doing sales. And so there's a compensation for that. And I think millennials, this is generally speaking, are very open to making it work if our thoughts are heard, if what our perspective is valued. And so, yeah, there's definitely ways to get creative, especially if you're a small business.
Now, it seems like every generation coming in gets labeled, usually by the older generation, as lazy, unfit. I think about the 70s, the free love of the 70s. That was the what they call the greatest generation. People from the 50s look at those people and say, oh my God, they're all drug addicts. They have no drive. They have nothing. Then the people from the 70s are, managing people from the 90s and say, oh my God, they listen to this horrible music, like, whatever the music was. I was thinking Run DMC or something like this, this rap music, and all they care about is that. And now it's like, oh, these millennials, they want everything. They want their cake and eat it too. It seems like every generation gets a bad rap. Is this just the tendency that millennials are no different? It's just the new label assigned to the new generation, and we're going through the same experience as we always have, where the prior generation just doesn't get it anymore, and there's a kind of a new thing coming about.
I think you're totally right, Mike. And there's a wonderful YouTube video, Mike and Aaron, if you ever have time to check it out. It's with George Carlin, the comedian.
Yeah.
And he does this stand-up where he goes through all of these characteristics. He says, which generation is lazy, doesn't care about the other person. It's all about me, and goes through all these characteristics. And it's the spoiler alert for anyone that's going to check it out. You think that they're talking about millennials, but he's talking about the baby boomer generation.
Oh, that's funny.
And so yes, every generation before thinks that the next one is lazy. And my answer to that is, I think that's the reason for our experience as humans, is to make the next generation's experience that much easier so that they can focus on other aspects of our existence that needs to be fixed. Could be going a little bit woo there, but I think that's just the point of us making it easier for the next generation so that they can continue to thrive and build upon what we've built for them.
Yeah. Oh, I love that analogy, or that observation, I should say. Now, let me ask you: if I'm in my mid 40s now, so I don't even know X generation, or I don't know what generation I'm in, but I'm not a millennial. What do I need to do to change myself to cater to this new workforce?
Well, I would say you should be flexible. And, if you were to hire a millennial, or like Aaron's working with you, just to be genuinely interested in like new, fresh ideas. Because we have a lot to offer, and there's a lot of knowledge. We want to, be more productive. We want to use different practices. We want to change things. And it's not because we want to be more lazy or anything. We just want to get things done and move on to the next step.
It's funny. Like nowadays, everyone has a smartphone, and it doesn't faze me, but I could see walking by someone's desk, you see them texting on their phones, like, oh, not working, chatting with friends, that's all you do. But if you rewind, it's always been that way. It used to be smoke breaks. Everyone would go down, smoke. Yeah. And I think the mind needs that disconnect. How can an older generation, how can we learn to adjust ourselves? Meaning, are there things we're observing and putting a label on it that's actually something that's always happened? I'm just trying to figure out, and maybe there's no answer to this, but how can the older folks like me, how can we think differently about the generation when we observe certain behaviors? What are we misinterpreting?
Yeah, well, I think Aaron could probably answer that question really well.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, I do actually. Why don't you start? What do you think? Ron and I are older guys. What are we getting? What do you say?
Well, I don't think you guys aren't getting anything. Honestly, I'm a millennial, and I look at anybody younger than me. Doesn't matter if it's by 5 minutes or 5 years. You automatically, oh my gosh, they're 12. You see somebody on Facebook, you're like, ugh. It doesn't matter what generation you are. It's worth ethic in a lot of ways. But I call those mental minutes. Just a little. Sometimes you get in the heat of the moment. You go. You get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So just even that 2 seconds of, oh my gosh, I have a thought. It might even be an emergency. But if that's their mental minute, where they're able to kind of take a second, let their mind space mellow out so they can then focus in and contribute to whatever they're supposed to be contributing to. It's a really impactful way. And sometimes a smoke break, if they're sitting there at their desk thinking all day about their smoke break, do you think they're going to be doing their best work?
Touché, right.
So
it's a relief, right?
Yeah, there's something powerful about a mental minute.
So Nancy and Danetha, what about hiring? Is it smart? Say we have a more established accounting firm and we're an older generation of people and we want to bring in our first millennial. Is it smarter actually bring in a couple folks so that the new person doesn't feel kind of like a sole island?
I don't think that's necessary. I think millennials, we are okay standing our own ground. Okay. Danetha, what do you
That's a great. I'm going to disagree with you, Nancy.
Okay.
I think it is. I think it could be helpful just to have maybe 2 or 3 come in at the same time, so that, like you said, Mike, you don't. Not only do you not feel alone, but you have more confidence in speaking your truth if there are others that are around you that have a similar perspective. And it's also helpful maybe for the team that's already in place to know that this isn't someone that has off the wall ideas, that it's also mirrored and reflected in others, and for them to see it across 2 or 3 other people could be helpful in just integrating the culture.
And what about the hiring or actually even finding new people to come on board? Is the ad in the old newspaper, the penny saver newspaper or whatever that circulates around town, I suspect that's not the right spot. How do I find some new generation employees?
I would say you have to do everything on the internet. You have to be checking LinkedIn. You have to be putting it, you're not going to go, I don't think we're going to be reading the newspaper looking for jobs and, highlighting or circling. We're really looking online, and we really want to make, connections. So I think social media plays a big part in that. But I would say definitely LinkedIn is the biggest platform for that. And then there's also websites like Indeed, where there's a lot of millennials that are constantly going on that platform to search for jobs that meet their needs.
Well, and nowadays too, I don't know if it's just me, but in my experience, even just trying to get a job at the local Target, you can't walk in and ask for an application. They send you right online.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
You don't get that face-to-face time. Do you guys have any tips for kind of evaluating the millennial future hires, if you will, and differentiate them without that face time?
That is a really great question. And just to piggyback off what Nancy was saying, social media and having a brand for your company that speaks to millennials is also really important, so that they feel welcomed even before filling out that online application. But yeah, Erin, after that point where a millennial's interested and they go online to fill out the application, usually the next step is, I would imagine, to have a phone call with them or a Skype chat. It doesn't have to be in person. You can still see them face to face, regardless of where they're located. So that would be, the next step for hiring.
All right. So now let's talk about making a business thrive. I mean, the two of you specialize in helping accounting firms and bookkeeping firms explode in growth. What are some of the secrets to facilitating explosive growth in a accounting or bookkeeping firm?
Such an awesome question. And of course, Profit First is a great platform and community, yes, to get in touch with other accountants and bookkeepers that have been successful and to learn from your team on how to do that. From our perspective, another aspect to it is really being clear around your mission and your message. Why are you an accountant? Why are you a bookkeeper? Why are you so passionate about working with small businesses? First and foremost, because people can feel that, whether it's through Twitter, through LinkedIn, through meeting you at a networking event, that's just going to ooze off of you. And then the second piece is really being clear around your message or the way you help your clients. The accounting market, like any industry, is crowded with a lot of fabulous people doing amazing work. So what sets you apart from others, and how can you help your clients in their specific areas grow to that next space?
Gotcha. What about a business that is stymied in growth, meaning it's a firm that's been around for 10 or 15 or 20 years, and I've tried, quote unquote, everything under the sun. Sometimes it seems that a business just gets stymied, it stops growing, and I've tried everything, I can't get growing. Is there a way to reinvigorate growth in an established firm?
Yeah, and this may sound really simple. It's going back to those two pieces, getting really clear around your mission and your message. And sometimes as you continue to gain success and figure out, okay, this is working, continue to do the same things day in and day out, it can get to become old and feel humdrum, if you will. But once you go back to that core of your business, of why you're doing what you're doing, that energy will be re-energized. And then, think about, if you're doing the same things, you've been doing the same things for the last 20 years, where can you infuse some new energy? So maybe that's social media, maybe that's going to different networking events, maybe that's trying a different vertical so that you can get different exposure. But yes, going back to the core of why you're in business is where you need to start.
Have you found that the mission, the message, that is a magnet for new generation employees? I mean, is that important to put that out there for that?
It is.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it is. If you want to attract the right talent, it's really important that you are very clear and transparent with what your message is, what you are trying to achieve. It is extremely important, and that's what Danetha and I, we preach.
And a great example to go out, again, off your question, Mike, about re-energizing the practice. There was a top 100 accounting firm with them, CPA, and they've been successful for many years. And most recently did a new music video to showcase. It was really cute. They had their entire team just dancing around in different offices with the accounting firm. And not only, and that was important for two reasons. A, to attract new clients that speaks to, but also to attract a younger generation that may want to work for their firm or to reinvigorate the culture within that firm. So thinking about things outside the box that may not seem like it's directly related to the bottom line can help with re-energizing the business.
All right. Well, that puts me down this path. Now I'm thinking, what if I try to attract a millennial, but I actually try awkwardly? Like, I really want millennials, so, hey, let's do a music video of old guys dancing around saying, we love millennials. I mean, it may be perceived as ridiculous and gross and a little bit pervy. So could I mess up the recruitment process here and be too cheesy?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
There's going to be a millennial that will identify with the cheesiness.
That's funny.
And that approach. It all goes back to your intention. I don't imagine that most people that are doing music videos will be doing it for out of being perverted. If they are, you're going to attract those types of people. But it all goes back to the intention. And if it's to connect with, make a heartfelt connection with a community that you haven't been exposed to before or don't have a relationship with, that will come through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess if I put it out there and I authentically want to attract the new generation of employees, even if it comes across cheesy or embarrassing, they'll say, at least this person's trying. And that also brings me to the point about guidance around how to communicate. If for my growing accounting practice, should I get maybe one of my internal millennials on a team that helps us communicate more effectively? Because not only am I looking to hire millennials, but also, the people buying are millennials. Yeah. So do I need to, or should I engage my own internal team of this new generation to be able to help communicate effectively to customers in the new generation?
Definitely. And that's a really good point about keeping an open dialogue and having an open mind to different perspectives and values, and allowing the millennials who are already within your organization to have a role where they're able to make decisions and to present things to either you as the president or CEO or the team, the executive team. If it's a smaller practice, to you as the business owner. But yes, having a culture where millennials feel like they can share.
And they're empowered.
Yes, to make decisions is really key.
Mm. And what do you both feel, and I want to know this from both of you, so maybe Danetha, you could start us out, and Nancy, what do you feel about the future of business? Where do you think millennials are going to take us?
Oh, that's a great question. To Mars?
Is it so bad that my first thought was to infinity and beyond?
Oh, my God.
Yes. And going. I think, honestly, I feel that this generation is infusing a culture of compassion and connectivity that we'll see. Not only does that help the internal culture to create a business where people want to work, but also it does help the bottom line. It's not always a direct correlation, but I think over time we'll see that it is really important to infuse the softer side of business into the business strategy and allow that to be a part of the strategy.
Nice. And Nancy, what's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, honestly, I feel like the sky's the limit. I don't feel like millennials, we like to kind of be put into a box, like this is where our destination is. I feel like we are students of life. We're constantly learning. We're constantly seeking education through different platforms because we ourselves don't have all of the answers right now. And I think that's okay. And I'm comfortable in saying that because I don't want to, corner myself. I want to make sure that I can continue to evolve. And I'm excited to see what's going to continue happening with, the computing softwares, where that's going to take us, and just to see the amazing things that we're all going to do together as a community. Because really, as like Danetha said, I think that's the most important thing to millennials. We all want to thrive together. We want to dream big. We want to, continue learning. I mean, it's exciting.
Yeah, I personally am the most pumped I've ever been about the new generation that's coming in. My generation, the adage was greed is good. There was a famous movie called Wall Street, and that was the famous line, greed is good. And that was the mentality, make money, make money, make money. And this generation is, let's make greatness. Let's not make money. Let's make greatness. And money is a part of it, of course, but let's really change the world for to the best. So I'm super excited about the new generation. Danetha and Nancy, this has been fascinating for me. I know that folks listening in want to learn more about you. Where can they go to learn about your program, both of you individually? What should they do?
They should go on brandingforaccountants.com. You will be able to learn a little bit about Danetha and I. We have a short little video introducing you to our program and how we want to help accountants thrive. We want people to be able to duplicate what we've done for ourselves. And also you can find us on Instagram.
Yes, Branding for Accountants is our handle. And thank you so much, Mike and Aaron, for having us.
Oh my God, it's been a joy. So Danetha Doe, Nancy Kabanyayev, I did a little bit better this time.
Nailed it.
You nailed it. We will have the notes for these, our wonderful guests, the show notes with these links and all that stuff. But Danetha and Nancy, again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Okay. So in a second, we're going to talk about what we learned. Aaron and I will go over that. I think Aaron has a page full of notes, so do I. So there's going to be some fascinating stuff going on here. We are going to do the GMAP Now task, that one task that will grow your business. And we'll give a little homage to Obi-Wan Kenobi. But first... Ooh, that was way loud.
I like it.
Yeah, you like it. But first, I want to thank our corporate partners who make the show a reality. Why don't you say their name, Aaron, and I'll say a little detail about what they do.
Okay. First, we have Nextiva.
Oh, my.
Nextiva is a voice over IP phone system. Talk about the next generation. We're talking about the next generation people. Nextiva is the next generation of voicemail and next generation of phone systems and the next generation of CRMs. Why? Because they combined all of it. This magnificent voicemail system, this powerful, as we have the phone system here, and this powerful CRM that they're rolling out, all packaged together. That's the next generation.
Awesome.
Plus, Yaniv just texted me. I texted him earlier this morning and said, I'm going to be in Phoenix again. I'd love to get together and play some tennis. And he says, I'll kick your ass. That was his text back.
See, it's all about the people.
They're good PAs, good person. I'll kick your ass. And then it says ... again, which is true.
And super reliable.
Yes, and super reliable.
Super reliable.
Who else you got for me?
Fundera.
Oh my. Fundera is a one-stop shop loan source. Your clients, when they need that loan, they come to you and say, what do I do? And you're like, go to the bank, do this. No, that's one-to-one kind of seeking out your loan. Instead, go to Fundera, type in the details of what they want, and Fundera goes to all these different loan sources comes back and says, out of these 10 lenders, here's the 3 that we suggest. And they even educate you on which option is the best to choose out of all 10 or 3 or 2 or whatever you got. And these loans come through sometimes within 24 hours.
It's a game changer.
It's a game changer.
It's a game changer.
Yeah. What else you got for me?
Receipt Bank.
Oh my God, Aaron. Oh, I just blew out the thing there. Sorry. Receipt Bank. No, that was me. Receipt Bank is awesome. Receipt Bank is a scanning system for all those receipts that are piled up. No more shoe boxes, my friend. Have your clients use Receipt Bank. It scans right in and syncs up with QuickBooks, QBO, QBD, Xero, FreshBooks, whatever newfangled accounting software is coming out there. Receipt Banks will sync with it. Got another one?
Last one is Fundbox.
Oh my.
Fundbox. That's a cash flow accelerator. Here's how it works. Your client has an invoice due and they're not going to be able to collect on it, not in a timely manner. Fundbox releases those funds, as we heard on last week's episode, sometimes within hours, definitely within 24 hours. You have the funds in your hand and then you pay back that loan. And when the money comes in from your client, you just return the entire funds. It's cheaper than any other credit source that we know. It's cheaper than using a credit card or something like that. It's a great way to finance your business, especially if you have these clients that stand out and don't pay your invoices on time. Also, I do want to thank Net Payroll for making the show a reality. Netpayroll.net is where you check them out. And also American Express. Go to your favorite podcatcher right now and type in Turning Points. It's a show I hosted with American Express on all these businesses that faced, that dark moment and actually made it their biggest opportunity. You can do the same. So Turning Points by American Express. Okay, Aaron, you ready to share what you learned?
Sure.
When we get the music song. Okay. Like that little Jeopardy moment?
Yeah, this is my dream.
This is your dream. You're on Jeopardy. What's your big takeaway for the day?
I think the most important thing is the why.
Yeah.
Companies need to establish their why. That's what resonates with people. But also be yourself. If you feel like dancing through your office is a way that you're going to attract your ideal customers, your ideal team, dance through the stinking hallways. But we also have to remember to balance. We have a world of tools. I mean, we just listed 4 great tools that we can use or resources, but we have the internet, we have our phones. Just being open to communication and understanding what it is that would make these millennials thrive, and honestly, anybody on your team. I think it's about giving them the tools that they need to thrive.
Yeah.
Having an open space to be able to grow and to learn, and sometimes that means fail. I mean, one of my favorite things that Ron ever says to us, he's like, listen, I don't care if you mess up. He's like, but I'll be pissed if you don't try something.
Yeah.
That's empowering. That's empowering. So, but also being creative with compensation. It's not your time is not what I'm paying for.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a really impactful way to get your point across as a business owner to your employees as well. This is what is important. This is what I'm looking for. And I will give you a high five and a nice check if you do that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's it. That's it.
My takeaway, the first words out of it was either Danetha or Nancy. I think it was Danetha who said it. Cloud accounting, cloud platform. And it was interesting that she would start off with something like that. And it's like, oh, it's about flexibility. And so many accounting and bookkeeping firms aren't leveraging it. And when they are, they're thinking, oh, my client needs cloud accounting. My client needs to get QBO or Xero. But she's saying it's your employees who need that cloud accounting. And it's like, okay, I get it now. The flexibility is beyond how you service your clients. It's how you serve your employees. So, and then she went on to talk about flexibility, about the hours we work. We need location. The unlimited vacation, I get it. It's just really, again, it's more flexibility. It doesn't mean that people are going to go away for 2 or 3 years.
Most don't.
Yeah. Most don't. But you have the ability to do it, and then you work a schedule that works around that, where the business and the millennial comes out winning. It's funny. It was Nancy who said, there's a shame still if I'm not working. Like there was that sense of if I'm not working all the time, there's a shame. And that millennials are starting to catch on to that. Like for what? There's a shame I'm not working, meaning I'm not with my daughter. I'm not with my family. And no, that shame is starting to go away. And now there's becoming this realization that this work-life balance is really doable. And I'm happy to see that millennials are leading that charge because we've all been talking about it. Millennials are actually pulling it off. So that was pretty powerful. So that's what we learned. Hey, we don't know what you learned too. So do us a favor, go on, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you're listening in, and post what's your observations about millennials. What are they doing? All right, here's homage to Ron. Get ready. There it is.
He's actually at lightsaber camp right now.
Yeah. That's what the non-millennials do. They go to camp still, and they wave around lightsabers. There used to be, remember there was a video of a kid jumping around with a lightsaber. It's hysterical.
That's what I love to fill my time with.
Lightsaber time. So, Ron, we miss you, and we miss your Obi-Wan Kenobi techniques. So when you're back here next week, we want, actually, he's not even back next week. He's not back for another month of episodes because we're recording more tomorrow. So when you're back 4 or 5 episodes from now, Ron, we want to hear what you got. But there is one thing. Oh, there's that one thing. Yeah, start smacking the table. Yeah, get jazzed up. You know this song. Erin starts every morning with this. She goes, get up, Patrick. You're sleeping in too much. Nora, wake up. Wake up. This song is a big pump-up song. You know what you should get pumped up for right now? It's the GMAP Now task. This is the one task that if you do it, you will move your business forward in a big way. And I'll tell you, this applies to more than just millennials. Anyone you're looking to hire. I want you today to write down, this is your task, write down the 3 most unique benefits you can offer your team. The 3 most unique. So that means vacation time, no. Sick time, no. You do those things. That's the standard stuff. What is really unique? Maybe you have every employee gets a pass for the local restaurants for 20 meals that year, and they can use it the way they want. That's unique. Maybe you're the only company that has a vacation fund, and maybe you have a retirement plan, but maybe you're packing away money, and that vacation fund piles up, and then you give it to the employee, right?
Awesome.
Yeah, you like that, right?
I do.
So, what are the most unique things you can do? Figure out 3 of them. It makes you stand out, and that's how you attract the best of the best millennials. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Boom!
That's an atomic bomb. I can hear that.
It is an atomic bomb. Your mind just got blown. Talking about getting your mind blown. We got to get out of here. So I want to thank you, my friends, my listeners, my compadres, me millennials, for listening in today. Please remember, please rate us. Please share. Do all that stuff. Make sure you comment on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you listen to us. We want to hear what you're experiencing. We want to spread the word on this show. And, we want your accounting practice to grow. So do that. And, do one more thing. Do me a favor. Now get real close. Listen in. Here's what I want you to do. Go to ProfitFirstProfessionals.com. That's right. Go to ProfitFirstProfessionals.com right now. Click on the Become button. That's how you become a Profit First Professional. Fill out the form. You'll talk with one of our team members here. Ron, Aaron's taking some calls. Myself, Deborah. We'll explain what Profit First Professionals is all about. We'll teach you how you can drive profitability in your clients' businesses and in your own.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And maybe it's not a fit. I get it. But we got to explore it together. So go to ProfitFirstProfessionals.com right now. Don't wait any longer. Click on the Become button and let's explore it and see if there's a fit. Okay. That's all I got for you. Make sure you join us next week too. All right?
All right.
All right. Aaron, you good?
I'm good.
All right, I'm good. We're out of here. See you.
Adios.